Wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. LaRusso.
Extreme situations require extreme measures.
Let's play about it.
You're about to Cobra Kai Karate. Go back to a brand new video. Today, we're here to talk about Dexter Resurrection. The entire season has now been released. And guys, I think it is very, very overrated because this is being hyped up as one of the greatest shows of the year, the greatest sequel show of all time. The IMDb ratings are through the roof, and I don't know, to me, I just feel that this show has just been all right. Has so many flaws that no one really considers, because every time an episode released, there's no criticism on anything. Like usually for shows, you hear some people criticize a character or a scene. Everyone just peak, 10 out of 10, peak. And it just made me lose my mind as I'm watching it because it just really frustrated me, and hopefully someone relates to me. But I'm going to get into this show. We're going to review it. For people that disagree, I hope you just hear me out and you understand my criticism. Now, with this being said, this really would not be a negative review and I don't think it actually is a negative review, because if you guys know, I made a video before Dexter Resurrection came out saying why Dexter Resurrection will fail and why I think it's a terrible idea, because just from the premise, okay, so he comes back to life after that terrible New Blood ending, and now he is going to New York to join like a superhero of killers. I thought he was gonna be killing with them. That's kind of the trailer kind of showed it, and he's gonna be there in New York. And I didn't know how Harrison or Batista was even gonna play into it, and it just seemed ridiculous. Now, my expectations from where I was farly exceeded. Like, it was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. But the reason why I say it's overrated is because what people are saying about the show and what the actual product is way separate. People genuinely think this is the best Dexter season, and that's just mind-boggling to me. So we're going to go into this episode by episode and talk about the season. Let's do it. And I did already review episode 1 and 2 when it first released, so if you guys want to see my review on it when it first came out, but I'm basically going to rehash the first 2 episodes, what happened. The first 2 episodes, and actually the start of the season really was not that good. So starting off episode 1, you have some huge fundamental issues with Kate Bishop, and what actually happened. Because New Blood was such a disaster ending, with Harrison killing Dexter and him dying there, it just happened out of nowhere. It wasn't set up at all. Like, it was ridiculous. And now he is here, and he's supposedly stayed alive. They made a whole medical reason why he stayed alive, whatever. But you're telling me Kate Bishop, who he literally killed the cop, right? Her best friend, lied to him, a serial killer, set her up, and now she sees that he's been killed, and she goes to save him, and she's just like, okay, we're square now because you killed the killer that killed my friend. That makes zero sense at all. And she's just not in the story, and everyone in that whole Iron Lake or whatever is just not in the story. So right there, just huge fundamental issues. They're just trying to sweep that under the rug. And I know you really can't fix that. You really can't really fix what they did in New Blood. So they kind of had to do something ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like, that is a problem regardless of the reason. Just really stupid. And it really just makes the franchise look more of a joke when you keep doing these huge plot holes to New Blood and Resurrection. All right. Then this episode, you do get some good stuff. I really did like the fan service. So they do a lot of fan service. You see Dexter waking up, or trying to wake up. He's kind of in a coma. And we see Arthur Mitchell. We see James Stokes back. We see Miguel. We see Harry back, which we didn't see him in New Blood. I was always a little curious because we saw Deborah in New Blood, and we don't see her at all this season. I thought that was a little weird because we even see even later in the season we see more. So it seemed a little weird they didn't do that. Maybe they will for season 2, but I thought it was fun fan service, but it didn't really add to the story. I mean, it was really cool to see James Stokes back. It was really fun. Kind of campy, kind of stupid, but I love seeing it. Honestly, I thought it was just great for the fan service. I thought it was really fun. And then outside of this, we get Harrison, where Harrison's in New York. He's struggling from PTSD. Now, in the beginning of the season, Harrison actually I like a lot. Like, Harrison in New Blood I hated him. Like, he was arrogant. And his face always pissed me off. He always had this crybaby face, and this guy I did not connect with at all. And you understood he had a rough childhood, but he was like, yeah, okay, yep, I hate you, yep, like the way he speaks and everything. His whole, if you guys know what I'm saying, in New Blood he was just so frustrating to watch as a character. In Resurrection, at least at the beginning of the season, he is actually really a little more fluent. You see him working there. He's there with this girl who has a kid. Nothing romantic going on at the time, but they're helping each other out. He's staying with her. He has PTSD from, obviously, he thinks he killed his dad and everything that he saw with his dad. And now there's this guy, and he kills him defending the girl who he's trying to, pretty much rape. And he kills him, puts him in the bag. I thought that whole setup was really nice to cool and see. And then later on, we get the new detective. Now, this is a huge problem with the show. The new detective, the girl detective and the guy detective were absolute terrible characters. Honestly, had nothing to do with the story from start to finish. Not only are they just completely annoying, have no arcs, they really don't add too much to the story. They're just there to be detective, just to add more, like, I guess, rush to the story. Like, they don't really add to anything to the Dexter. They don't add anything because they're not really onto Dexter. It's really just Batista trying to get him onto him, and they're like, we don't care. So they were terrible. The girl detective, more in particular, was terrible. The fact she has this "Staying Alive" song and that she needs that to detective, and she's just a jerk to everyone. She walks around with a stone cold face. Like, she's just not a good character, and the acting is terrible by her. And the guy is honestly just pathetic. I don't know whose idea was to make that character. So, and those characters just drag on for the show, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Episode 1 was just the beginning of it. So that's basically episode 1. Not too much going on. It's really just setting everything up. I gave the episode a 7.4 out of 10. More just for the fan service. But then we got episode 2, which wasn't really that great either. And it's basically just him getting to New York and just stalling around, finding things out, eating places, Batista trying to talk to him and trying to get there and all that stuff. And you get the whole Blessing character, and I know a lot of people love this character. I thought he was miserable. It was like they're trying to force the funny, quirky character so hard. He really talks like a cartoon. Like, he's way too over the top, way too overly nice. His voice and his demeanor, everything about him is just way too over the top. It's like they're trying to force him to be like Brother Sam, or trying to be like that fun, quirky character that Dexter's a friend with. They're trying to force him to be like the Miguel. He's just not there to me at all. Some people like him. If you like him, I guess you do. That's your opinion. But to me, they're trying to force him to be that fun character. Like, they're trying to force him down your throat. And the whole season, he has nothing to do with the character. I know there were stupid rumors that he's the New York Ripper. Dude, the entire season, with Dexter being there, what does he add to the story? He is there from episode 1 through 10, and he does nothing. Him and his daughter, his mother passing, and all this stuff. Like, this has nothing to do with the story. It's just complete filler, and not good filler at all. So he's there, and he finds out about the dark passenger. And then this whole episode, we have Dexter butthurt that someone stole his name when his son is out there, could be getting locked up by the police because he knows that they're going after him now. And he's now more concerned about his name being stolen, which wasn't even his real name. It was his name in his head. So now I'm just like, what are we doing? Later on, we see more of Harrison PTSD. Like I said, I really liked Harrison in the opening, but this episode was just really frustrating to me. And at this point, I was really turned off by the show. As you guys saw in my first episode review, I gave this episode a 7.1. Then we get episode 3, which I don't thought was great, but I thought it was a lot better. I thought it actually started bringing the show up. And from this point on, episode 3 to 4, 5, 6, and 7, not 8. But from that point on, each episode gets curiously better and better, and then get way better and really good. So episode 3, we see more of Blessing being way over the top. Like I said, don't like his character. We get Dexter. He has to go for the physical thing with his needles, whatever. And then we get Harrison and that kid, and then the girl. So he's there at her house. He tries to kiss her, and he doesn't. And he leaves, and it's all awkward. And the whole thing with the girl and the kid, it really seemed not important. There's a whole thing with the with the owner and the mold and everything. What happens later is Harrison finds this girl, right? This other girl, and then he just completely abandons the other girl. We don't see her for the rest of the show. So she was in the show for absolutely no reason at all also. So another huge plot hole in the show. And then we see more of Harrison the detective, as the detective is kind of closing in on him and pretty much going after her. And this is the episode we also see. We do get to see Masuka and Quinn back, where it was Angel retiring, and I thought it was really cool to see him back. Really funny stuff. Obviously, I wish you saw more of them, but they really couldn't do it with what Angel was doing. And I really wish they set up Angel's like desire to go after Dexter more, because it makes sense why going after lying to him for years, and what he did to obviously LaGuerta, who was his wife, Dokes, who was his friend, kind of, and also Deb, who was also a very close friend with him. So I really wish they set up his rage more and his realization, because he just finds out, he's like, okay, I'm going after you. You don't really feel like his urge as much as you do. I really wish you saw the desire more. But he goes after them, and then we get Dexter killing Red, which I really enjoyed that stuff of him putting the stuff on, getting in the car, and then he drops his thing, he gets him there, and he kills him. He finds out about the invitation. that whole stuff, seeing Dexter kill again was really good and really fun to see. And the one thing I'll say about the show, and a lot better than New Blood, they actually had the tone of Dexter. New Blood felt like this very dry, like a complete different show. This one you get the energy because you're in the city, you have the killer, he's going after killers, he's killing again, and there's detectives after him. It feels like the vibes, and I feel like that's what you need to do to resurrect the franchise. So they did that very, very well. So there's episode 3. I liked it a lot more. I give it a 7.6 out of 10. They made episode 4. Now, when this episode came out, people loved it, and it's still very high in IMDb. Me, I'm not as big as a fan, but I think this episode was really good. So, right off the bat, you get Dexter meeting Leon Prater and all the killers. Let me say this. Well, it sounds ridiculous, but when you find out Leon Prater's backstory and what the killers are doing there for, it's such a good thing. And let me say, Leon Prater, the actor, Dirk, his name, I forgot his exact name. Obviously, he's the actor in Game of Thrones, but he did phenomenal. I would say one of the best acting. I would say the best acting by any villain. I'm not gonna say he's the best villain, but I think the best acting we've ever seen from any Dexter villain. His acting was amazing. It was really creepy and eerie. How he's like a big fan of killers and everything. When you find more about his backstory, it's really cool. So I feel like he was a really interesting villain. How he has his power and how he's holding everything together, and he has this weird, creepy, eerie room with all the killers and then you get to see Dexter go in there and see the ice truck killer, obviously Brian Moser's table where he killed him on, and you get to see his original slides, and it's just like they're doing stuff that is really pleasing to Dexter fans. So they do that stuff very, very well. And then he meets all the killers, and then you see Lady Vengeance, and this was really, really interesting idea. Obviously, the actress, Breaking Bad, and Jessica Jones, love the actress. She's there, and I thought she was a really interesting character for a while because Dexter's saying, does she have a code? Because she kills pedophiles basically. And we get to see there. We get her backstory, the whole ballerina stuff, and her sister. And he goes to her house, and him trying to find out if she has a code. And actually seeing Dexter's passion about what he believes in with other people is something that's really interesting. So that stuff's really good in episode 4. We have Batista confronting Harrison this episode, which puts Harrison on the hot seat. Batista's moving in, more tension coming up, a lot of cool stuff. And then we get where Dexter goes off and kills the first killer, the tattoo collector. And it was an amazing scene where he knows he's going after him. He gets him and he puts him on the thing. And he's like, there's one thing I couldn't tell you, I'm not Ronald Smith. I'm Dexter Morgan. He's like, who's that? He's like, the Barber Butcher. And he's like, oh, shoot. He knows it's over when he hears that. And boom, he kills him right away. And you get the Fiend back. It was an amazing scene. Because Dexter always hated the name Barber Butcher, but him kind of, and I'm not saying embracing it, but it's like he knows who he is and how important of a killer he is and what he is. And to see him do that, kill him right there, and see how shocked he was. It was a really cool, fun scene. So I loved that scene. And then it ends on a cliffhanger of Dexter confronting Harrison, where Harrison's guilty consciousness is reaching such a peak where he goes actually turn himself in, and Dexter stops him. So a fantastic episode. I gave this episode an 8.2 out of 10. They did it very well. It's not a 9.8 or whatever when people say. It's not one of the greatest episodes of all time, but they really brought back a lot of fundamental aspects of what Dexter's about, and it was just an entertaining episode. So yeah, episode 4 I enjoyed a lot. Then we get to episode 5, which I think is a very solid episode. Not as good as the last one, but I still think it continues to do what they kind of build on. Like I said, the middle part of the season was really the best. It was, I think the beginning was bad, and the end was mediocre. We'll get to the end. But episode 5 begins Dexter talking to Harrison, talking about his PTSD with the watch and everything. I really love the interaction with him and Dexter talking to him and everything. It was really good. But this is a pivotal moment of Harrison's character, because after he takes the watch and Dexter talks to him, he's just like, his PTSD just disappears. That's not how PTSD works. He's just all fine now. You can't just tell me he takes the watch and everything's good. Yeah, he had the urge to kill that one guy one time, and he didn't. But it just feels like Harrison's character in the second half of the season is nothing. He's just a talking piece. He doesn't do anything. He has no emotional depth. He finds that girl, and then they're just, nothing really happens with Harrison, and he just turns back into the boring character that has nothing to it, just like a New Blood. And it was really disappointing, because I liked what they're doing from here to this point. So yeah, you get that great stuff between them, and I thought that was very cool. Later from that, we see Dexter going out with Lady Vengeance, trying to learn more about her and about the code to do the bullying, which I thought was really fun. But then Dexter finds out Lady Vengeance is actually just a killer, and there's really no killer truly like him. And it's really just a disappointment for Dexter and honestly kind of the audience. And it's where he realizes that it's a lonely road where I am at, and I have to take care of it, which I thought was a really cool aspect. And it was really cool that he actually cared to try to see if she had a code. So after Dexter finds out, he then stages and puts the watch in there that will kind of stage Lady Vengeance as the killer of the guy, which will get Dexter off Harrison. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. He calls the police in, and yeah, it was just a really cool scene there. How it wraps up. This episode, really don't see any Batista. It's like Batista should be the driving force, not these detectives. That's why detectives are just so pointless. So that kind of frustrated me. But either way, episode 5, I thought was a decent episode, a cool adventure episode. Harrison and Dexter chemistry coming together, really solid. I gave it a 7.9 out of 10. We get episode 6, what I thought was another decent episode. We just see Dexter and Harrison kind of live with each other now. They're going to Blessing's funeral or whatever with his mother. And like I said, it was I guess you could say a cool scene, Blessing and everything, and the funeral, but it's like, this had nothing to do with the story. And honestly, when I'm watching Dexter, I don't really want to see this stuff. I like the side stuff with the characters, only if it adds to Dexter's character. It's not really adding anything to him at all. So I just thought it was just boring. You get to see Batista bring his detective work of Dexter, of him being the bear butcher, to the detective, and they don't believe him at all, but it kind of gave him a chance. We didn't have another meeting where all of them get there, obviously, for everything going on, and this is where Dexter realizes that he wants to go kill the Gemini killer, and he's finding out, and goes to track him down, and he brings him to his house, and this is where you have the really cool thing where he kind of plays in on his ego, talking about like, oh, I'm just a big fan, and then he does a drink where he drinks, he passes out. Really cool scene. And then I even loved it where he's like, I don't even want to hear any more from you, and he just kills him right there. So that whole stuff, like I said, him tracking down the killers one by one is a really cool idea. Yeah, it's a bit crazy, a bit campy, but I thought just seeing Dexter do that was really cool. So that was really fun right there. Really cool stuff. Then we see Harrison with the like I said before, Harrison and the landlord or whatever, not doing the mole. Same actor as Bobby in Sopranos, by the way. I thought that was pretty neat. But yeah, like I said, this stuff would be cool if it wasn't like him pulling back his urge to kill. What would be a cool idea if it just didn't disappear and he left the girl and the kid and completely forgot about him and started dating this random girl. Like, that is the big issue. So this could have been cool, but you know, it really wasn't, because they just forget about Harrison as a character. Later on of this episode, Vengeance is now killed by the guy, which, by the way, there's theories that she might still be alive, and it was all faked, but whatever. She's basically dead. Batista knows that Batista's getting closing in on Dexter. They go down, and it leaves a cliffhanger with the Gemini killer is coming in, and it's actually twins. So cool cliffhanger, cool episode. I give it 8 out of 10. But then we get to episode 7, which is my favorite episode in the season. Honestly, I think it's just a terrific episode. This is the episode where everything I love about this season and what they're doing is at its peak. So right up the gate, he's there at the whole place of the killers, and they all had to give like sort of speech about their killings. And Dexter, obviously, he does not relate to these people. He is not like them, and he's like kind of rehearsing on what to say. He's like, I'm gonna go out there and just say the truth. And he goes out there and he gives this amazing dialogue, some amazing acting by Michael C. Hall, where he's talking about taking off the mask, and he's talking about, and his body language when saying it, and he's talking about the whole thing with how he feels alone after the killer's dead, which is really true to him back in the original series, where he's actually the most honest as a person before he kills the killer. So I thought it was really cool, and seeing how Prater responded to that, and hearing about his backstory and his acting and their dialogue and their talking, and it was just really cool stuff. And then he does the whole Gemini killer where he goes off and he basically is like, I gotta kill him here and now, where he sets him up, kind of rage baits him, and he kills him right then and there. Takes out both of the Gemini killers, but he knows that he's on a ticking time bomb because they're gonna start finding out sooner or later. And the girl's kind of already onto him. So there's that. But this is where the whole stuff of Harrison starts to take a turn, which I don't really like. He goes off with this random girl. They start, talking, whatever. He's trying to get into college. Like I said, this episode wasn't too bad, but the other episodes, it gets really annoying. But they're going off a speech about serial kills, about the New York Ripper, which, by the way, is kind of just a set of season 2. They don't really do anything this season. We don't know who it is. Well, we know who it is, but we don't know who it is, Dexter and Harrison both gets there, and the detective lady, she's there, and she's talking about it, and she recognizes them there, and they talk about it after. And I really liked, one of my favorite parts of this episode was Dexter talking to Harrison and saying, because they talked about serial killers and their mindset, how they can't love. He's like, I may not, experience love like I do with others, but the way I feel about you, I don't feel about anyone else. So I thought it was a really good scene, and it's even better later on where he's like, Harrison's like, I'm taking off to go and crying because of you. And that you can see how much that mattered to Dexter and how much it mattered to him as a family man. Seeing Dexter actually start to care about his family more is the point of the show, and the point of Dexter's character, having him morph into a real human and growing these emotions he never thought he had or could have, and accepting them. That's what I think Dexter should end to be, and that's what I think Resurrection throughout season 1, season 2 should grow to be, where I think the end of the show should be him turning himself in for the greater good, which would have been Batista, but we know what they did in episode 9 we'll get to later. But this episode was really good. I loved it. And then you get the ending, which was a fantastic ending where Angel is there blessing Sal's. They get in the car and he's like, I'm only gonna say this once: stay away from me, stay away from my family, stay away from my son. It's like he's saying, I'm just gonna forget what you did to Dokes, to Deborah, to LaGuerta. And then Dexter does an amazing line. They did definitely pull it from Breaking Bad, but you know what? Pull it from Breaking Bad as much as you want. You can rip off Breaking Bad all you can, because that is the show to rip off, because that show is awesome. He basically goes, he does the whole tread lightly thing from Walter White. He goes like, if I really am who you think I am, this can't possibly end well for you. And this is Dexter trying his best to be the predator, trying to be the guy to put fear in him. And you see in Angel's face, he looks at him in almost in disappointment, in shock, in fear, in sadness. And he just goes, yeah, I'll take my chances, buddy. And then you can see how disappointed Dexter goes. He drops the evil face and he's just sad because he knows he has to pick one or another. The first code or the second code. Never kill an innocent life or never get caught. And I love it there. And then he goes, this is where you get out. And then it's just him standing there. He puts the AirPods in, standing there watching him. Amazing ending, amazing episode. I give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Fantastic. But then we get to episode 8. This is where 8, 9, and 10 really just butchers the show. Honestly, I know people love episode 9. They liked episode 10. Some people liked episode 8 somehow, because episode 8 was one of the worst episodes in Dexter history. Obviously, excluding the 2 finales. It was one of the worst because it is complete filler. And it's like 40 different subplots going on at once that have nothing to do with the story. And it was just terrible. It was all over the place, and I hated it. So let's get right into episode 8. Right off the bat, you have Dokes trying to go after Dexter, trying to do his best as a detective, and you have the whole stuff with Dexter trying to go after the other killer. I forgot his name, the ponytail killer, I think his name was. He's trying to go after him, and then you get another subplot with Charlie. You get to see her and her mother and her stuff with Prater. There's another subplot. You get to see Dexter. You get to see Harry. You see Dexter setting up the kill room, trying to kill the guy, and then you get the whole stuff with the detectives going to the dance or whatever the hell it is. She doesn't want to go, and it just drags on and on and on. You see Batista trying to find out what Dexter's doing. You get more needle stuff, and then you get this whole stupid subplot about Dexter telling Blessing's daughter about what he did, and then he gets all mad at him, and it's just like, first off, it has nothing to do with anything, and it's just stupid. Why is Blessing mad at him? So you tell him this, but you never ever told him that you never told your kids. You never told Dexter to not tell your kids. You never told him that you never told him this, kid. You just told him that, and then he just gets all mad at him, and it's just like, okay, like, why does it even matter for Dexter? Why does it matter for the show? And it's just so stupid. And then you get to see Dexter and Harrison eating at the place. Then it's another scene of him going after the killer again, but now he's leaving. Dexter can't get him anymore. And just like, this episode is just, it feels like a huge headache, honestly. And then you get the whole stuff where Dexter is going to try to take that. Now he's trying to help Harrison by getting that owner or landlord to kind of put fear in him. He does that. Then Angel walks in, he runs out, Dexter's out, detectives get there, detectives don't believe in him, and like I said, this episode is just kind of all over the place. And why Dexter would go that lengths, like, just to put fear in him, I don't know. I just feel like the episode was just kind of ridiculous, and I really didn't like it. And then you get more stuff with Harrison and the girl, and they're just, doing what they do every time. And I'm sorry, they play the joke of them like having sex and right next with Dexter and talking about sex with Dexter. And honestly, the girl's terrible. Gigi, whatever her name is. First off, she's ridiculous. She doesn't respect Dexter at all, and she keeps talking about like sexual things right next to Dexter. Like, it's just so weird what she's doing. And she's just not a good character at all. She's really boring. And then they go on their whole party and she's getting off for a speech. Like, what does that do with anything? Harrison at the whole party and everything. Then we see Quinn out of nowhere, and eventually the episode finally ends with Predator walking in saying, "Hello, Red, and I didn't know you have a son." So like I said, this episode was really, I did not like it at all. I gave it a 6.3 out of 10. Then we get to episode 9, which is, people say is the greatest episode of all time, and I think it's one of the most disappointing episodes of all time with insanely wasted potential. Episode 9, Touched by an Angel, obviously is the episode that a lot of people thought was going to happen, and I'm just going to talk about the episode overall before I get into the huge critical thing they did at the end that we all know. Basically, it's just Dexter telling Harrison about Predator, and he's just like so nonchalant about like, oh, he's a bad guy, he kills people, you killed him, okay, bye. Like, Harrison like doesn't feel like a character anymore. He feels like a talking piece, and it's even more in episode 10. Then we have Dexter going after the girl Charlie because they went after her son, and the episode overall is not that bad. It doesn't, I want to say, drags on. You can see Angel getting turned down every single direction by the detectives, but he kind of shot himself in the foot the way he handled it, and he didn't really do that good. But anyway, the episode really leads to the ending where he thinks he's gonna go to kill Predator, but Predator now knows about Dexter because Angel told him. So this is the moment. First off, it's really tense how they set it up. He walks in there. "Hello, Dexter Morgan. Come on in." He's on the table, and it's all very tense. But why is this happening so soon? Like, it happens way too soon. Like, why didn't we set this up longer? And then we get to, honestly, a huge error and honestly disrespectful to Dexter fans, what they do with Angel Batista. Dexter, he's about to kill him, and Dexter knows, if I kill him, he knows he has undeniable proof now that I am the Baylor Butcher. He'll never stop. If I kill him right now, I can get more killers from Predator, but he decides not to. Sorry, I was getting a little hot in my room. Not the point. Anyway, he holds it up, and he does something that I really, really loved. He lets him go. This is what I wanted to see. He chooses the second code over the first, and that's what I want to see, like him morphing into a human being, feeling these emotions. But it wasn't really set up. We don't really see him contemplate what he has to do with Batista. After Batista said what he did, he doesn't say or mention Batista's words like, oh, he'll back off. Like, no, he won't. Dexter said, no, he won't. And it's like, I really wish we saw him like contemplate the idea of what he's gonna have to do with him, you know, like he did with LaGuerta. Like, do I kill her? Do I not? We saw that, and actually him building up to it would have been better. But either way, I love the scene, and that right there is perfect. But then it goes completely south, and it ruins, honestly, the season for me. Batista, who just saw a rich millionaire killer put him on a table and have Dexter try to kill him, after seeing the guy try to save his life, Dexter, instead of doing that with the people who have guns, he jumps on Dexter and tries to choke him. Like, this is how you end. Okay, people make the excuse of, oh, he's seeing red, but no. Okay, seeing red, that was not a reference. He's like getting mad because of what Dexter did. That's ridiculous. He was just being an idiot. If he wanted to get Dexter, maybe do it where he wouldn't get shot right away. He had to knew that. So basically, after that, he gets shot and he gets killed. So basically, Batista, a main character, the character who should have been the character and the sort of antagonist throughout the show, he gets killed off in episode 9, where it was barely set up. It was rushed way too much. We barely saw anything of him. And he dies in not a heroic way. He dies in a bad detective and an heir. I'm literally editing this video right now, and I just have to add more to what I was even saying. He literally dies in meaningless death. What does his death accomplish? It doesn't change Dexter. He doesn't feel bad. He literally moves right forward, goes back to killing like, oh, I'm Dexter Morgan. This is what I do. He barely cares, and he doesn't get any closer to the actual finding of the Baylor Butcher. So he dies a meaningless death. And one where they make him a complete fool. He literally dies as a fool. He dies as an idiot, and that's not good. It's not a sacrifice. It's a foolish death, acting on impulse. And the worst part about it is he goes off and blames him like, oh, it's your fault. You're the reason. He really just tried to save your life and get you out of here. He dies in a terrible way. Back to what I was saying. Dies basically as a rambling lunatic who just lost his temper. He loses as a dumbass. That's how he dies. Like, what a ridiculous way to go out. Like, think about James Dokes. James Dokes actually got Dexter down toe-to-toe by himself, and he got outplayed by Dexter because Dexter was different. If Dexter tried to save Dokes, Dokes would not just jump on him and kill him. He'd bring him to the police station. He would do what he had to do. Like when Dexter and Dokes had to team up. Like, imagine in that scene where in season 2 where the people with the cocaine, instead of Dokes having Dexter help shoot him, he just starts freaking out and jumps on Dexter. Like, and then that's how Dokes dies. Would you guys be okay with that? And this is Batista we're talking about here. And then the actual scene, he gets locked in there. Then he goes like, you know, it's your fault. You know, like, the people you killed is your fault. So basically, he's like, he's going out in a way. I know it was a really well acted scene, but he's going out in a way where he's just like, F you. I have no respect for you. Everything's your fault. When he just tried to save you, like, what are we doing? Like, I just think it's ridiculous how he went out. And it was way too rushed. If he would have done that, they teamed up for a while and got out of there, and we get to see Angel and Dexter talk and have those conversations like Dokes did about the morality of what he does, and Dokes and then them going their separate ways mutually of like, okay, I'm gonna go you go your way, and then that leads to season 2 where Dexter is still on the loose and Angel's still going after him, and eventually as Dexter turns into a real human being, morphs into it, he actually turns himself in, like a Saul Goodman type ending where he turns himself in what's right to save people or to do something right. No, that's not what we do. So that's why episode 9 really frustrates me. I give it a 7.5. It was a really sad scene for what it was worth, but it's just not good. It ruined, and it was really wasted potential, and it was rushed. Then we get to the finale, episode 10. In this episode, they played way too safe because they know the cliche of every finale is terrible. So they were trying to play way too safe with this, and the episode is just not that great. It's really don't do anything. They're really just stalling inside of a. It's just walking around the hotel of Paris and up and down and doing all this, and then eventually Prater gets in there and is about to kill him, and then they all do that. And I hate this scene where he has Harrison there, and he's about to kill him, and after Dexter, after he gets the thing with Dexter, Harrison was like, he makes a joke. It's like, that'd be the last time you do that again, right? Like I said, Harrison doesn't feel like a real human being. Like, he doesn't even feel like a human being at times. He feels so strange. Like, the way they write his character is so weird. But later in the episode, you get this terrible scene where the detectives start doing Stay in Your Lives. You're doing all these dance scenes. I'm like, dude, it was one of the cringiest scenes I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's just not good. And then, as far as Batista goes, he just kind of goes like, rest in peace, whatever. So there's that. So there's the character for you guys. Went out as a rambling lunatic. You get to see Brian Moser back, which I thought was neat, but Dexter saying like, I'm happy I killed you, it was a little strange. I really think he'd be a lot more like conflicted with his morality at the time, but it's what it is. It was cool to see him back. And then yeah, they kill Prater, which was a cool scene, and I do like the ending where he's throwing them in there. We see him back on the boat. It says "Get away," referenced obviously season 4, and he goes like, I'm exactly who I want to be. I'm Dexter Morgan, and he kind of looks right in the camera because he's been narrating to us the whole time. I thought it was a really cool thing. But overall, the season was just a complete mess. It was all over the place. The pacing was awful, and it was just not really a great season. Definitely a lot better than I wouldn't say a lot better, but it's better than New Blood, especially with the ending. The ending was playing way too safe. New Blood kind of went freaking ham. Whatever they try to do, they're trying to be way too cool, way too much. So overall, I'll give the season a 7 out of 10. It's mid. It's okay. And I'm excited for season 2, what they do. Hopefully they do something nice. But like I said, not that great. That's a lot to say about that. So let me guys talk about Resurrection in the comments down below. If you agree or disagree with me, I'd love to hear your opinions. And don't just say, it's peak, it's peak, it's peak, 10 out of 10, peak, 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 peak. Because when you look at the IMDb ratings, they're so inflated. It's like review reverse bombing. They literally, 90% of every episode is 10 out of 10. You think every episode, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, every episode is up there with the greatest episodes of all time, like Breaking Bad season 5, episode 14. Every episode is to that same caliber. You should only rate episode 10 out of 10 if it's truly one of the greatest episodes you've ever seen in your life. So these guys have no actually criticism at all. They're just like, half these fans come from TikTok. I'm just gonna say it right now. But anyway, use all my link table there. Let me know if you want to see more Resurrection or Dexter videos, like rank all 10 episodes or maybe rank all seasons. Let me know in the comments down below. See you guys next time. Always remember, extreme to extreme measures. Peace out.